Thank you very much for inviting me to this Diamond Galaxy meeting. I'm very happy and very lucky that I was invited because of the pandemic. We all know COVID-19 is very deadly. And of course, being already a senior citizen, it is risky to get infected by COVID-19. And many of my friends who are doctors also, they are the frontliners, have been also infected, and many of them died already. So this makes me so sad. One of my friend who died was very interested to try Pортии Placenta. And he told me that I will deliver to him 7 bottles because he wanted to try the product. So I said, okay, I will deliver it to you next week. Unfortunately, he died. He died suddenly, and that crumbled, that destroyed me. He was my friend. So life is short. Sometimes we are happy. We are here seeing each other in this Diamond Galaxy Zoom meeting. But we really do not know what will happen to us tomorrow or in the next week or in the next month. So what I can say is that we keep ourselves healthy. Be healthy, because good health is our wealth. Okay, now my professional life is purely in the practice of my profession as an orthopedic surgeon. I do several surgeries at St. Luke's Medical Center, one of the big and good hospital here in Manila, and also at the Far Eastern University Hospital. I do a lot of surgeries, and I also practice law at the same time. So let me say that I am really a professional. I am not a businessman. I am not a person who markets products, you see. This is my first time in my whole life to get involved in business, and this is the sharing and marketing of our good product, Pортии Placenta. And you will be surprised why I am here. It started when I was doing surgery, I think, and that was about 2 years or more, 2 or 3 years, when I was suddenly called by two beautiful ladies. And I did not know them. I was surprised why they were able to get my cell phone number. And they introduced themselves, and they told me that a person gave to them my cell phone number so that they can contact me. And because of that person, I could not refuse these 2 ladies. So they met me. I said, let us meet only for a short moment because I'm busy. And we met in a restaurant, and they served me good food. Of course, the way to a man's heart, or the way to a person's heart, is through the stomach. So we had a good dinner, and I said we'll only meet for about 30 minutes. But lo and behold, we met for a long time, and they explained to me the product. I was difficult to be convinced, you see. But because they said it was stem cell, I got a little bit interested because I am also involved in stem cell medicine. In fact, I am the president of the Philippine Society of Stem Cell and Integrative Medicine. But the stem cells that we used are not oral, not taken by mouth. It is given by injection. Because I am a doctor and a surgeon, we do surgery. We get bone marrow stem cells from the bones, being an orthopedic surgeon. If we do not get stem cells from the bone, we get it from the belly, from your abdomen. We get the fat, and then we process the fat, remove the stem cells, the mesenchymal stem cells, and then do some centrifuge and re-inject it to the body. So because of my experience with stem cells, we call this autologous stem cells coming from the patient's own body, I was a little bit skeptical on stem cells being delivered by mouth or given orally. But because these two women were very persistent, they were very committed, and they were very patient. These are the three words that I would like to emphasize: commitment, persistence, and patience. And because of this, it came to my mind that this must be a good product. So after the talk, they gave me 7 bottles and told me, "Doctor, you try this 7 bottles. Just try it." So I received it, and we bade goodbye. And I placed the 7 bottles in my car. I forgot about the 7 bottles. I never opened the box. I never even tried to see what is inside. And after 1 month, the 2 ladies again called me and greeted me, and that they wanted to see me, and they were asking what was my experience with the 7 bottles. I said, "I'm sorry, I forgot all about it. I never even opened it." And so they invited me again, and we saw each other again, and they talked with me. And after that meeting, I think I remember we went to a mall, and I brought some of my friends with me, who were also doctors, and we had a good dinner. And after that meeting, I decided to take a look at the product when I was in the house. And so I decided to try the product. Well, after 1 month of religiously taking the product, I was surprised that I had a good sleep. You see, I had insomnia. I cannot sleep easily at night. I usually sleep at about 2 o'clock in the early morning, 2 or 3, and only for 4 hours, and then I wake up again. So I had difficulty of sleeping. When I took this product, I was really surprised. My sleep was so good. About 10 o'clock or 9 to 10 o'clock in the evening, I already will be sleepy, and I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Wow, my experience was very refreshing. And it made my body as if there was something that changed in my health. My body was lighter, and I felt not easily hungry. Even before, I wanted to eat a lot. But when I started to take this product, sleep was very nice with me, and my body was, I felt very good. So I decided to continue. Now, I am a diabetic. I suffered for diabetes. I suffered diabetes for 15 years. And I inject myself with insulin. Every night and morning, night, I inject myself with insulin. Otherwise, my blood sugar will be very high. And you know the bad effects of diabetes. Diabetes can lead to a heart attack.
Yes.
Heart attack.
Yes.
Yeah, it can lead to kidney failure. It can destroy your kidney.
Wow.
Yes, it can lead to blindness. And before I was taking this product, I noticed that my vision was blurred. When I drive my car, I usually wear an eyeglass because I cannot see clearly at night. I usually use an eyeglass. But you will notice now, I never, after 2 years of taking this Pортии product, I never use any eyeglasses anymore. My vision is clear when I drive my car at night. So I was happy. So I have been a diabetic for the past 15 years. Well, I just continued taking the Pортии placenta. And these 2 ladies keep on calling me and always asking me what is my experience with this product. And they wanted me to share it with my patients, to market it. But I said, no, I have to experience it first. Personally, I have to try the product before I will be convinced to share it with my friends and my colleagues and my patients. So I decided to take it religiously. And I noticed that when I play golf usually every other Sunday or sometimes every Sunday. I play golf. And I see to it that I inject myself with insulin, and also I drink Pортии Placenta. I drink it 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules also in the evening with insulin. And I had a bad experience when I was in the golf course. My knees were shaking, and I felt very weak. I could hardly hit the ball. When I swing my golf instruments, I could not hit the ball. So I had to go to the restaurant and drink juice or some soda. And I noticed that after I drink juice or anything that is sweet, I recovered and I got stronger. So when I got home, I tried to analyze what is the problem. And I found out that taking insulin, injecting myself with insulin and taking Pортии Placenta at the same time was already overdosed to me. So it brought my blood sugar too low, very low, that I had hypoglycemia. You see, so I decided to stop the insulin, because of course there is a little bit pain, even if it has already been for many years that I have been injecting myself with insulin. I still suffer a little ant bite when I inject myself in my belly. Okay, so I stopped the insulin and just continued taking the Pортии Placenta. Then when I play golf, I noticed that it was normal. Okay, it was normal. So I said, there is a good effect with this Pортии Placenta. And when I went to the United States, because I live actually in the United States, I have a house there, and my family is there, my children. I was driving my car in the highway, and again, I noticed that I was so weak. My legs were trembling, and my hands could hardly maneuver the car. So I went to a restaurant, and again I ate some pastries, cake, and some juice, and it came back. My strength came back again to normal. Now I remembered that morning I still injected myself with insulin, and also took Pортии Placenta. So I decided that I will now stop completely injecting myself with insulin, and that was already on the 5th to the 6th month. I think it was already on the 6th month. So I decided completely to stop injecting myself with insulin and just continue with Pортии Placenta. And I'm so happy. I was so surprised. I was so amazed. I couldn't believe that every time I examine my blood sugar, because I have a glucometer, a glucose test. I take my blood test every morning with a pinprick. I discovered that my blood glucose was really normal. It never went above 100 milligrams %. It was only 80 to 90, while before it will reach about 300, 250 to 300 milligrams %, and that is very abnormal. It means to say that when it is 300 to 400, you are really high risk, a very high risk patient, and your blood is full of sugar. You see, and that can destroy your kidneys already. So because of this Pортии Placenta, I was really very happy. I was so amazed. I was so thankful to these 2 ladies for introducing to me Pортии Placenta, and that started my journey. Every time I drive in the United States, I never inject myself anymore with insulin. I just take the Pортии Placenta, and everything is very normal. Also, another thing was that I was bald before. Bald. You will see me. I was using a wig. They call that here in the Philippines as our dialect. They call it BMW. You know what is a BMW? That is a car, but they interpret the BMW as, in our language, the dialect as bohok mo wig. So my friends, they will say, look at Dr. Olarte, he is using a BMW on his head. Before, I did not understand what is a BMW, but it meant in our language, buhok mo wig, meaning to say that your hair is a toupee. Your hair is a toupee, or you're wearing a toupee. So buhok is hair, mo wig means to say that you're using a toupee. So after several months of taking Pортии Плаценты, I noticed that my hair, there were hair follicles that were growing. It wasn't really that thick as a young man, but I noticed that there was a change. So I decided to remove my wig, my BMW, because there was already some hair follicles. You see, it's not comfortable to have a wig. And I have a friend here in Manila who is also a lawyer, a government official, who is using a wig. And I told him, Brad, you try this Pортии Плаценты. And you can probably thicken your hair. But you see, this friend of mine is a skeptic. He did not believe that Pортии Плаценты can increase the hair follicles, or at least give a little improvement in his hair. So until now, because he did not take the Pортии Плаценты, he is still using the wig. While me, I already removed my wig. So you will see that my hair is already acceptable to me. Really, I was really bald before. I was using a toupee. You see? So these two things that happened to me, of course, inspired me. It encouraged me. It brought me to where I am now. You see? I am now sharing this experience of mine to my friends. Now, regarding this diabetes of mine, this is really a big gift to me by Riway International. If it were not for this Pортии Плаценты, I would have been suffering daily injections with insulin. And I tell my friends who are diabetic to try this product. Some believe, some do not. If they do not believe, I just say, well, it's up to you. But in school, at the university where I teach, some of my colleagues, my doctor friends, are surprised. They ask me, Doc, sir, why do you look so young? You look younger. What's the secret? I said, well, stem cells. When I say stem cells, it then starts a discussion, you see. And many friends of mine noticed that I have become younger. I'm 68 years old, but some say that I'm only 55. Some say I'm 60. But well, I'm happy about that. Some say I'm 67. But the fact that they have noticed that I look younger makes me happy, makes me very excited. So I talk to them, I share to them the product, and that starts the business, you see. So it is through our personal experience that we can be effective sharers of this product. People will be convinced, people get convinced when they see what is happening to you. Because you are not taking the product personally, they will not believe. They will say that you are not even taking the product. Why are you sharing it with us? Why don't you try the product first?
Yes.
All right. So the best way to convince our friends, our prospects, is to take the product ourselves personally.
Yes.
Religiously, so that we can convince them. You see, so they look at me. When they see that I look younger, they're very interested. They're curious. Why? What is the secret? I say stem cells. Okay. Now, I have also patients who are suffering from osteoarthritis. They have difficulty in walking. Their knees are swollen knees, painful and stiff. Swollen, painful, and stiff. Now, I had the opportunity to train in stem cell medicine in Florida several years ago. I was in Florida, and I was in Dr. Joseph Porita's clinic. Dr. Joseph Porita is professor of orthopedic surgery at the University of Florida, USA. And his subspecialty is orthopedic stem cells. And he invited me to observe and to train with him in his clinic. So I was there for 6 months, and I observed that there were a lot of patients who were lining. They were queuing up. They were outside the clinic. They were very heavy people. They were probably about 300 to 400 pounds, and they were all senior citizens, probably 60 years old to 90 years old. And they were wheelchair bound. They could not walk. And these patients came from different places of the world. And they just went to Florida to visit my mentor, my teacher, Dr. Porita. And Dr. Porita puts the patient to sleep by giving anesthesia, and then gets bone marrow stem cells through a surgical procedure. And sometimes he also gets stem cells, fat cells from the belly. And after this, he processes the cells, remove the stem cells, do centrifuge, put it in a test tube, and then inject it into the knees of these patients. These patients have already been scheduled by their doctors to undergo total knee replacement, meaning to say that their knees are to be replaced with an artificial knee. You see, if you are a person whose teeth has all been destroyed, your teeth, the dentist will give you a false teeth. Now that is the same procedure that an orthopedic surgeon will do in the knee if your knee is severely osteoarthritic. So these patients go to Dr. Porita because they do not want to undergo surgery, total knee replacement. So they instead have themselves injected with stem cells. And after 4 sessions, at 4 to 6 weeks interval, 4 sessions, which cost about $15,000 to $20,000 US per session. And after 4 sessions, the patients can walk now. So I was really amazed. It was really a miracle. It is miraculous, you see. And the other surgeons in Florida got mad. They are jealous. They are angered with the procedure that Dr. Porita is doing. Because, of course, when these patients go to him for injection with stem cells, instead of undergoing surgery, these patients do not undergo surgery anymore. So the other doctors lose their patients. Their patients, instead of undergoing total knee replacement, do not anymore undergo total knee replacement, but undergo stem cell treatment with Dr. Porita. So many doctors there are mad. They are angered. There is a professional jealousy. Some of them destroy the stem cell medicine treatment, but Dr. Porita is just silent about it. But Dr. Porita has done a lot of research, and I am personally a witness to the effectiveness of stem cells in osteoarthritis. So that is my experience, that seeing a lot of patients being treated and cured by stem cells instead of undergoing total knee replacement, they are cured because of stem cell injection. So my mental impression is really that stem cells should be given through injection, because that was my training. And when I was in Manila, I practiced stem cell injections. We had a few patients, and the patients were balikbayan friends of mine. They went to our clinic and underwent stem cell therapy injections. But of course, we charged 1 million to 1.5 million pesos. So it was very expensive. Only the rich and the famous, shall we say so, only the rich and the famous could afford receiving stem cell injections. And there is a great difference, really, between injections and oral administration. That is why it was difficult for me before. It was difficult for me to accept it right away. I had to examine myself, and I had to try it for myself to see if it was really effective. And because personally I found that it was really effective, although I did not use the stem cells for osteoarthritis because I have no osteoarthritis yet. But I also found out that in my patients that I have recommended stem cells, oral Pортии Плаценты, they improve. Their walking improve. They are not using a cane anymore. They are walking now with a good gait. You see, good walking. So this is really very amazing. It is really miraculous. Now, these are the experiences that I have experienced. Now, going back to COVID-19, I was traveling in General Santos City to Cotabato because I wanted to meet a friend there, a doctor, Dr. Dimatingkal, in Cotabato City, and I rode from General Santos City to in a car with someone who was coughing and coughing, and I was suspecting that because she was coughing and coughing, probably maybe these are the early symptoms of COVID. Now, of course, that was only a suspicion that it might be COVID, because COVID virus is seen in patients who have cough and sore throat. So when I went back to Manila, I had cough and sore throat also. And I was a little bit afraid that I might be infected with COVID. So I decided to take the Pортии Placenta 3 times a day. 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules in the afternoon, at noontime, and 2 capsules in the evening. So 6 capsules a day. Because of my fear that I might be infected with COVID. So I just increased the dose. And I'm so happy that my cough has disappeared. I never took any cough medicine. I never took any cough medicine. I just drink hot water and Pортии. 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules at noon, and 2 capsules in the evening. These are my personal experiences. So I have recommended Pортии Placenta to my doctor friends who are coughing. And I was surprised. They improved with Pортии Placenta. So I think that Pортии Placenta can can be a good prevention. Can be a good prevention for COVID infection. So if you have friends, this is the best time for us to share Pортии Placenta to our friends because of this COVID pandemic. You see, now a good story that I can always remember in sharing this product, marketing this product. As I said earlier, I am not a businessman. This is my first time to get involved in marketing. I practice my and never was in business, because you see, when we go to medical school, we are not introduced to business. They always say that when you are a doctor, you're a doctor the rest of your life. And they always say that the practice of medicine is not a business enterprise. It is not a business. You do not get rich in the practice of medicine. Of course, you will not also get poor, but you will not get rich. That is our training. So I had no intentions of getting rich. To me, as long as I can support my family, I can eat 3 times, I can buy the things that I want, I have a house and a car, that is already perfect with me.
Yeah,